And feel free, Dr. Snow will actually help us to address any questions in the chat. So if you don't feel comfortable, unmute yourself, ask me questions, and feel free to use our chat function, and Dr. Snow will definitely address your questions there. Okay. So, all right, and now it's recording. Perfect. So again, I want to warmly welcome everyone here to our fall quarter open house. And Dr. Snow already introduced himself and me again. I am Associate Chair of the MA Counseling Program. We also have another Associate Chair, Department Chair, who is Dr. Donna Shipras. And here are also our amazing admin team, Sarah Everly, who's our Senior Department Manager, Lena Lai is our Administrative Assistant, and Tanya, who's also here today to help us, who is Admission Counselor. So if you have any questions related to admission, feel free to reach out to Tanya here during the meeting, during our meeting today or afterwards. So here's our locations. I want to say our main campus is Allen campus in Palo Alto. We used to have another campus located in Los Olos, but recently we actually moved to a whole new campus located in just downtown Mountain View. If you are familiar with the Bay Area, it's a really convenient location, and most of our counseling classes will be offered in Mountain View campus. Another unique thing about our counseling program is, in addition to those physical locations, we also have a virtual classroom. So we use Zoom as a platform. We do a synchronous class every week. So just wanted to share right there if you are interested in joining the online cohort. So our MA counseling program is actually KCREB accredited. I want to share how important it is. That definitely brings a lot of value when a counseling program is accredited by KCREB. So currently we have two emphasis areas. One is clinical mental health counseling, or CMHC. The other emphasis area we offer is marriage, family, and child counseling, or MFCC. So those two emphasis areas are both accredited by KCREB. What that means is it's a guarantee that we are offering a very high quality of the counseling training. I think that's the most important thing, right? You're looking for a program who are able to offer you a good quality of training. So we certainly do that. It actually also enhances the portability. So maybe some of you are thinking about relocate when you graduate, or maybe seeking other licensures in other states. So actually more and more state licensure laws actually now would like the students who graduate from a KCREB accredited programs. So that's another reason why you should apply for PAU counseling program, right? In addition to those reasons, for the career-wise, right now, at least 3 federal agencies hire mental health counselors from KCREB accredited programs. For example, the Army Addiction Program, TRICARE Insurance, so some other insurance policies, including TRICARE, they actually want to hire mental health counselors graduate from KCREB accredited programs. The other federal agency is the Department of Veteran Affairs. Okay. So I want to just highlight that. And here are our amazing team. We have a total of 17 core faculty members. We all have different specialties, different teaching interests, research interests. We have Dr. Karen Roller, our associate professor, whose specialty is crisis and trauma. Dr. Margaret Lamar, who is associate professor, and she's actually associate chair of our new doctoral program. So we are actually planning to launch this doctoral program next year. So, and her specialty is around like research and counseling in women. Dr. Tim Baima, Associate Professor, and he is our MFCC, Emphasis Area Program Coordinator. So if you have any questions related to MFCC Emphasis Area, feel free to reach out to him. Dr. Jenny Zhu is our Assistant Professor, and her specialty is International Counseling. And Dr. Diana Herwig, our assistant professor. Another huge role, who's really important, is the clinical training director. So she's very knowledgeable in terms of the state licensures, and as well as help you successfully launch a practicum placement and successfully secure like hours graduate from our PAU program. Dr. Megan Specialty, and her specialty is currently associate professor, and her specialty is sexuality. Dr. Kelly Coker, professor, and she served as our CACREB accreditation liaison, which is definitely a very important role of our program. Make sure our program is keep accreditation, right? Dr. Shreya Vashnath, our assistant professor, and I believe her research interest is around discrimination as well as working with immigrants. Dr. Danya Wallace, assistant professor, and her research interest is around diversity as well. Dr. Wendy Wade, assistant professor, and she is really knowledgeable in addiction counseling. Dr. Kristen Watson, associate professor, and she will be our CMHC emphasis area coordinator. So again, if you have any questions related to clinical mental health counseling, feel free to reach out to her. Dr. Latoya Smith is our visiting assistant professor, Dr. Rachel Jacoby, as well as Dr. Aston Andre Vargas. So those three are currently our visiting assistant professors, and they all comes with a very diverse background, diverse research interests and teaching interests. All right. So in terms of our delivery formats, that's probably something you are really interested in. So currently we offer two formats. So one is residential hybrid format. And what that means is we will group them into like the residential cohort. And you will actually take 2 classes in person on ground every week and 1 class through Zoom. And that's why we call it residential / hybrid format. The other format we are offering is distance learning format. So all the classes will be taken through Zoom. However, I will explain a little bit more later, is we still require some residency experience. That's our firm belief that it's important for us to provide you some on-ground experience, especially those like clinical training, skills-based courses. It's important for us to provide you a different kind of learning experience other than distance learning. Either or both formats are you have to complete 94.5 units. You can choose to complete the program either in 9 quarters, excuse me, or 11 quarters. So we are a quarter systems. There are 4 quarters a year. Summer is required. It's definitely not optional. So it's either you complete the program within 9 quarters or 11 quarters. Either residential program or distance learning program, you both take 3 classes per quarters if you are thinking about complete the whole program within 9 quarters. If you're thinking about complete the program within 11 quarters, averagely you'll take like 2 classes per quarter. Okay. However, just be mindful that we only accept 11 quarters admission in fall only. Okay, so we have 2 admission a year, either fall or spring. But if you're thinking about applying for 11 quarters, you want to make sure that you apply that for the fall admission. So here's how we break down like what it looks like. That's our online, the 9 quarters. So basically the year 1 and year 2, especially the first year, for the residential cohort, you will typically, like I mentioned, you'll take 2 classes on campus, either Palo Alto. I think like in the future, most of the classes will be in Mountain View campus. So you'll take 2 classes on ground and 1 online on Zoom every quarter. By the end of the first quarter, you have to declare your emphasis area. So either you want to focus on MFCC or CMHC emphasis area. So you have to make this decision by the end of the first quarter. If you currently are in other programs and you're thinking about like a transfer to PAU, we are definitely welcome to those folks. We allow the students to transfer up to 13.5 quarter units, or which means is equivalent to 9 semester units. Right? So basically up to 3 courses of the prior graduate work, which is transferable. But at the same time, it's really case by case. I will be the one to verify all those transcripts and course material, but just want to share that we up to 3 classes, it's transferable. We do another unique thing about the PAU counseling program is we do cohort model. What it means is you will take the classes with the same group of students. When you are admitted to the program, we will assign you to a specific cohort. For example, you'll be like a 19 distance A model cohort. So usually it's about like up to like 24 students a cohort, and you will have a great build the relationship with your peers in the same cohort. I think we got a lot of great feedback on how important having the cohort support, and that's how they actually survive the program, right? So maybe Cassandra can share that experience a little bit later. So we do like cohort model throughout the program. But at the same time, we also understand that, you know, things could happen, right? So if you have to maybe slow down your process a little bit, we assign you like what we call academic advisor. So you certainly can work closely with your academic advisor to readjust your degree plan. If that's the case, and maybe you'll take some classes with other cohorts. In terms of financial aid, I think that's the other thing that maybe some of you are interested in. We do have a financial aid office, and that's something that you certainly can reach out to them directly to gather more information. But just want to share in here that to be eligible for a financial aid, every quarter you have to take a minimum of 6 units. I think summer will be a different case, but I will leave these questions for you. Maybe feel free to check on the chat, or please reach out to the financial aid office directly. Right. So year 1, after you complete all the courses in year 1, here comes the year 2. In year 2, you actually will continue some coursework either on campus or online. But the most important thing in the year 2 is you will start your practicum experience, field experience. You will take the first class is called practicum. The second and third classes are internship. So throughout these 3, those field experience, you have to complete at least 280 direct counseling hours. You will also complete 420 additional admin hours, what we call non-direct counseling hours. Being said, by the end of the program, you have to complete a total of 700 hours. And we also require that you complete all those field experience hours in a minimum of 3 quarters. So our experience actually, because most of our students have either part-time job or full-time job, right? So majority of them have to take maybe up to 4 or sometimes 5 quarters to really obtain all those 700 hours. But we still have some students able to get all the hours within 3 quarters. So there are some flexibilities, but please work with our advisor and the clinical director to help you, again, successfully get all those hours and experience. Okay. While you are completing those field experience, you're still required to take what we call like a supervision class, practicum class. Usually we actually offer that class every Tuesday evening. That's where you can not only get support from your site supervisor, you can also get the support from our own faculty who are also a supervisor for you. And that's where you will process your clinical experience. And sometimes our advisor or faculty can allocate for you. So that's a required class for sure. If you are not thinking about where you can get those field experience, we offer some options. So typical sites, most of our students complete their field experience in either school-based. So school-based, more and more agencies that actually contract with the schools. So they provide like school-based counseling. You definitely can also get those experience in other like community agencies, mental health agencies, nonprofit counseling centers. We also have students complete their field experience in like psych hospitals. So however, be mindful that private practice is not an option. So you have to get those experience through like community agencies or schools, or actually like college counseling. That can be one of the options, community college or universities. So basically toward the end, it really depends on when you complete your practicum hours, your internship hours, once you get all those 700 hours done. And yeah, that's time to celebrate, and you will be like graduating soon. I also want to share then what the 11 quarters looks like. Okay, so 11 quarters is a little bit different. So you are in a little bit slower pace. At the same time, it's not much difference, right? You still have to complete all those coursework, mostly in the year 1. Instead of taking 3 classes a quarter, you take 2 classes a quarter. And both classes will be online, again, through Zoom. Also, by the end of the first quarter, you still have to declare your emphasis area. And one thing I want to highlight is the residency experience. This is a mandatory, it's not optional. And of course, because of the past 2 years, because of the pandemic, we have to be more flexible. We did offer those clinical experience through Zoom, but we actually will resume everything in person. So this is not optional anymore. So you are required to either driving, or if you are from other outside of California, you have flying. We have 2 5-day on-ground residencies. So the first one is on the second term. So if you start your program in the fall, the first on-ground experience will be in the following quarter, which is winter. Okay. If you start, and the other one is your 6th term, so usually it's in summer. Okay. So you have to attend those full 5-day on-ground residencies. The first on-ground residencies is focusing on basic counseling skills, Monday through Friday. I believe it's around like either 8 or 9 a.m. until like 3 or 4 p.m. So we will send you a very detailed agenda when it's around the corner. So that's the first on-ground residencies. The second 5-day on-ground experience will be focusing on crisis and trauma, and some child and adolescent counseling skills and group counseling skills. Okay. And the second residency, it's also really important because usually it's you have to take that right before your practicum. So that actually set us your second on-ground experience, and also for faculty, we can better prepare you for the practicum, like a real life experience. So both are mandatory. The most important thing is you have to pass both on-ground experience, okay? So that kind of like give you a green light that now you can start your practicum experience. So please just keep that in mind. We will definitely let you know what the dates are, and please mark your calendar. Like I said, this is not optional, it's a requirement. If you're thinking about join the online program, the same thing, it's up to three courses, 13.5 quarters or 9 semester units are transferable. Okay. The online cohort is still, we will assign you to a specific online cohort. So you will take the same classes with the same group of students throughout the program. And then all the practicum field experience are the same, like what I just shared in the previous slide. So next, I want to share a little bit about what those two emphasis areas look like. So here, like I said, we offer two emphasis area. One is MFCC. So if you choose the MFCC as your emphasis area, in California, this is LMFT, which is our licensure, license of marriage family therapies. LMFT eligible. However, if you are outside of California, that's something I encourage you to do your own research now. Please check your licensure requirement for other states, because some states actually require like additional coursework. Their coursework requirement or field experience requirement might a little bit different from California. So that's why we always encourage students, please check your licensures of your own state. Okay. However, in the California, if you choose MFCC, this is LMFT eligible. If you choose CMHC emphasis area, in California, it's LPCC, which is another license of professional clinical counselor. That's LPCC eligible in California. Again, I encourage you to check your own state licensure requirement. If CMHC, it's LPC eligible. Okay, so LPCC probably have a different names, and depends on the state. Some might call like LPC, some are LPCC, but actually they are really similar. But just please check your state licensure requirement. You can also consider, we actually have students want to pursue dual licensure. What it means is when they graduate, they are getting hours toward like LMFT and LPCC. It's an option in our program. Okay, please again talk to our faculty advisors, and we'll let you know then which emphasis area you have to choose. Or please reach out to our clinical director, Dr. Herrick, and she will help. She is very knowledgeable about those licensures. She'll let you know what are some benefits, what it looks like, what the pathway looks like. Okay, but just want to let you know there's always options there. In here, we offer a website for you to check your licensure requirement if you're curious. All right. So here's a little bit like a roadmap for our California licensure. First, you definitely have to get an MA in counseling degree. So that's always the first step if you're thinking about becoming a professional mental health counselor. Complete a degree in mental health counseling. After graduation, you have to register as a postmaster or postgraduate professional. The most important thing is then you have to start getting your postgraduate hours. Okay, so it depends on the licensure. LPCC requires a total of 3,000 postgraduate hours. LMFT in California, okay, they actually allow you to start earning those hours within the graduate program. So you can actually earn up to 1,300 hours within the graduate program. So what that means is after graduate, you can just continue to earn whatever's left, right? About, I want to say, I do quick math here, it's about like 1,700 hours after graduation. Okay. So find your own postgraduate clinical site. Again, some students actually some internship sites decide to continue to hire them. I think that's perfect. So some of our students just stay in the same clinical site to complete their postgraduate hours. And some students feel like that's not a good fit, or they decide to find like other challenge themselves to find additional sites. You certainly can do that. You're also required to take law and ethics exams. In California, you have to take this exam the first year when you register for postmaster's associate licensure. Okay. Again, I would defer that to your own research because every state is different. Some actually allow you to take the exam within the degree, graduate program, and some you only can wait until you graduate. So it really depends. Like I said, you have to complete a total of 3,000 hours under supervision. So you also have to find your own supervisor to supervise all those postgraduate hours. Last but not least, you have to take a final state exam. If you are getting an LPCC, you have to take a NCMHCE exam. If you are in the LMFT, you have to take LMFT CCE exam. So all the example here is like in California. Other states might take a different state exams to obtain those licensures. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pass this for our student, Cassandra. Please share now what are some requirements for admission.
Thanks, Dr. Chen. So I will be getting into the admission requirements for the MA in Counseling program. So you'll see on the screen, these are all of the things that you'll need. You'll need to submit an application through our online portal called SciCast. And through there, you will submit a resume or CV, whichever you have is fine. You will also submit a statement of purpose. We have the prompt for the statement of purpose on our website, but typically it'll be 2 pages or less. You will also submit 3 recommendation letters. These will actually be submitted by your evaluators, and we ask that the letters of recommendation be submitted by an evaluator that is academic or professional. So that just means maybe you had a past professor that can speak to your academic preparedness for this program, or maybe you have a supervisor or a coordinator, someone that you worked with professionally that can speak to your work ethic. You will also submit your official transcripts to SciCast for any coursework that you've done in order to get your bachelor's degree. So if you've attended universities where you've done coursework to complete your bachelor's degree, you will order official transcripts from all of those colleges. Last but not least, once all of those materials are submitted and reviewed and we deem them completed to the requirements, we will contact you potentially for an interview. So just looking at the deadlines here, the deadline for spring of 2023 is March 5th, and the application will be opening in April. And the fall 2023 admissions deadline will be July 31st of next year, and that application actually opens this month. Okay, and we also wanted to bring to your attention that the U.S. Department of Education has a federal law that governs how colleges and universities can operate when offering distance learning education. So this is a list of unauthorized states where we cannot offer online education. So if you're located in any of these states or plan to be located in any of these states while you're going through the program, we would not be able to move your application forward if you're located in any of these states. And this is subject to change. We just have very little control over what states are on here or really knowing when they might be off of this list. So you can definitely check our website for updates, but you can also check with your state's licensing boards or licensure requirements. And you can always reach out to us if you have more specific questions. Okay, and for part of the admissions requirements, you will be inputting your transcripts into SciCast. So on SciCast, there is a portion where you have to manually input all of the coursework that you've done in order to get your bachelor's degree. So this might seem a little bit redundant because you're also ordering official transcripts to be sent to SciCast, but this just works in the way that they check your transcript entry against your official transcript just to verify everything. And if there are any inaccuracies, SciCast will reach out to you and you can go in and fix it. But it does take a bit of time. So just want to warn you a little bit about that. You have to put in each class and the course name and how many units it is and what grade you got. So it does take quite a bit of time. We recommend that you put aside at least a couple of hours, especially for some of you that have attended several universities or colleges. Alternatively, you can also pay SciCast to enter your coursework for you. It's not required. You can just put aside time to do it, but if you're short on time, you can pay for that service as well. Also keep in mind that a common mistake is that people send their official transcripts to PAU itself, but we can't receive those. They have to be sent specifically to SciCast. So PAU will not accept, by mail or electronically your transcripts. You must send them to SciCast in order for it to be reflected in your application that it was received and verified. All right, and once we receive all of your materials and everything is verified and completed, we will potentially reach out to you to do the final step, which is a counseling interview. So it will be a group interview format. So we'll have a group of applicants as well as a faculty person and a current student. I've participated in the applicant interviews in the past. So the interviews will be conducted by a current student in the counseling program and a faculty member. And we will invite applicants to interview based on reviewing your application, but that won't be done until all of your materials are received and verified. Also, just keep in mind that interviews will only begin in January, regardless of when you submitted your application. And last but not least, if you have any questions about financial aid, you can reach out to our financial aid office. They're really accessible. And if you have any questions specifically about being an international student or veteran or a student that's part of the military or maybe part of a military family, definitely reach out to Lisa Harris. She's a great resource. And also just bringing to your attention that for the academic year of 2022 to 2023, the tuition and fees per unit will be $623, and that's for a total of 94.5 units. So you can see that comes out to just under $59,000. And the tuition and fees, they don't include any costs like textbooks and things like that. This is purely tuition and fees. So I think that's about it. It looks like we have a few more minutes for questions. And if there are any lingering questions about admissions in particular, I will put my email in the chat and feel free to reach out to me. I know that we don't have that much time left for questions.
All right, looks like Dr. Snell is addressing majority of the questions in the chat, and I would like to open to everyone here if you would like to unmute yourself and share your any questions or concerns. The sixth for the sorry, the question. Yes, the entire. So either 9 quarters or 11 quarters will be around that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Hi, I was checking the AMMFT, the website, the accredited program. I couldn't find the PAU program. I wonder if the the credential is the same as the AMMFT one.
AMM, you mean
So-
like?
So California, we're an approved program for both the LPCC and the MFT. We are not a COAMP program or a KCREP program. So if you look at AMFT, that's a different accrediting body.
Oh, okay.
But remember, by the way, let's just clarify, there are 2 accrediting bodies for family kinds of work. One is, wait, could somebody mute, who's unmuted here? Here, I'm gonna mute everybody. I hear something in the background, but I was going to say that AMFT is the American Association of Family. They have a very specific accreditation process just for family therapy. There, about 18 states mention AMFT. Another 8 states mention AMFT and KCREP for family therapy. Now, be careful because mostly we focus on the LPCC across the country, and for California, the LPCC and the MFT. If you go across the country, I'm not going to guarantee that our MFT emphasis is going to work in a state that requires AMFT. This where it gets confusing. But I can tell you that we are KCREP accredited for the LPCC, which is a standard degree across like 50 states and the territories. But if you're interested in a family therapy degree, you need to check with the state and ask, do they need MFT? Do they need KCREP? Or half the states mention nothing. So anyway, family therapy is a little more confusing across the state. So that's what, but in California, and by the way, California doesn't require AMFT, it requires state authorization, which we have. So.
Great question. All right, other questions? John, yes, CMHC track only fulfills, that's correct. Only in California, I should say, in California. Again, like Dr. Snow shared earlier, however, CMHC actually across the country, US, sometimes they can eligible to like an LPCC. And LPCC in other states, depends on the state, they actually also can see couples and families. Right, but just within California, we have our own regulation. And Becky, yes, you can actually find the list of the class on our website. Right, or reach out to our admission office and we will send a degree plan to you for reference.